Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Brickhouse Tavern here in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, alongside Rick Wolfel. I am Mike Samsel, and this is Flyers Cup Selection Sunday Live. Always a very exciting day, Rick.
This day is as significant as any in the high school hockey season, Mike. It's great to be with you. We've got a number of teams and their supporters here, and high school hockey teams all over the area are waiting to see if they've been selected and where they're going to be seated. It's just a huge day as far as high school hockey is concerned.
Yeah, it really is. We're excited to have everyone here, and we can't be thankful enough to the Brickhouse Tavern for hosting today as well. So the three brackets that we are going to unveil today, four brackets actually, we're going to go with the Flyers Cup A ranking, the AA ranking, the AAA ranking, and the girls ranking as well. And we're going to have some great guests, some great teams with us all throughout the broadcast, and we're going to start out by welcoming the third member of our broadcast today, Lisa Roman. Lisa, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, Mike. Thanks so much for having me. I'm here with Rob Bear with the Flyers, Philadelphia Flyers. But for the Flyers Cup, you're the commissioner. This is the 40th year of the Flyers Cup. How did it start back in 1980?
Well, it came from very humble beginnings. 1980, Mr. Snyder saw the growth of Philadelphia, and he started this tournament with the Flyers' name on it. It started small with 4 teams playing at the University of Pennsylvania. Here we are 40 years later. We've got 50 teams in 5 divisions playing for a championship.
How have the Flyers been instrumental in the growth of this tournament?
Well, I think it all started with the Stanley Cup teams in the 1970s. Hockey started booming in the area. Rinks started popping up everywhere. And we've just been focused on growing the game, getting more kids on the ice, and here we are. This is a product of it.
Thanks, Rob. Mike?
Thank you very much, Lisa, and we are going to be getting set to unveil the girls' bracket in just a little bit. I'm going to be welcoming up Pete Rothman. That'll be this young man right here standing in with us, so excited to have Pete in as we unveil the girls' bracket. And Pete, got to be very excited about this for sure.
Always very excited, especially on girls' ice hockey. Always excited, especially on girls' ice hockey. Being the VP of girls for the district and also represent the district on the USA hockey level.
Absolutely. So the first team that we're going to be unveiling here in the girls region will be the number 2 seed, and that is Westchester East. Westchester East, the number 2 seed in the Flyers Cup girls bracket.
Westchester East, I'm very familiar with. Been involved with Westchester East a number of years ago. It's a very strong team. Westchester players have played at Iceline for a number of years. This season, they were 4-8. However, they do have, out of the 3 teams that will be selected, the number 1 point scorer in regards to Catherine Palmer with 20 points this season.
And the number 3 seed, Westchester Ruston, you may exhale. You are the number 3 seed in the girls' bracket.
Once again, here we have another Westchester team in the seedings. Westchester Ruston has excellent coaching. Their players are very strong. Probably one of their weakest links is goaltending.
Mm-hmm. And so the number 1 seed in the Flyers Cup girls bracket will be Unionville.
Well, we all know about Unionville. Unionville has been tops in the Flyers Cup for a number of years. They're a very strong organization. When you look at goals per period, during the season they had 23 goals on the first period. They're the team that always comes out strong. Third period they're a little bit weaker, but between the 23 goals during the season, the first period, and the second period of 23 goals, they kind of have a lead built in each game, so they kind of sit back a little bit.
So there you get a look at the bracket. It'll be Westchester East against Westchester Ruston, and the winner will advance to take on Unionville. Pete, thanks so much for joining us. And just before we let you go, what do you expect throughout this bracket?
What do I expect in this bracket? It's going to come down to goaltending. With Unionville, their goaltender has a 93% save. Well, when you look at the number 2 and number 3 seeds, their goaltending hasn't been as strong as Unionville. However, when you look at the goal scoring by Catherine Palmer, it's going to be an excellent series. But I have to say that Unionville, I expect to be the top team this season again. Thank you.
Pete, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now let's go over to Lisa Roman once more. Lisa.
I'm here with Ken Haas, the president of the EPIHA. How are the schools selected that compete in the Flyers Cup?
Well, the Flyers Cup goes back a long time. This is our 40th anniversary. It started back in the 70s when Ed Snyder had a vision for growing the game, growing the sport. And then in 1980, we had our first Flyers Cup tournament. And in the early days, for the first 10 to 15 years, there was only the division championships from each league. So the first Flyers Cup had 4 teams. And it has grown since. In the 90s, we added 2 other divisions, and I think they were called the Phantoms and the Directors Cup or something like that. But there's 3 tiers. And then in the 2000s, we went to the current format of the AAA division is our prep schools and open enrollment schools. And then the AA and the A are the public schools based on size of school. There's a selection committee that reviews all the teams, how they competed against other teams in the league and outside the league. And then we select 16 teams from each of the 2 public divisions. And then also the AAA is 8 teams.
So there are a number of teams in the Philadelphia area competing in this tournament. How many schools repeat and come back year after year?
Quite a few. In the early days, I think Germantown Academy won many Flyers Cups. I know Malvern did as well. Downingtown East, CB South have been very successful. So there are schools that, due to their success, seem to come back every year and compete very well.
Thanks so much, Ken.
And thank you very much, Lisa. We appreciate it. And we're back on set here with Rick Woelfel as we are set to take a look at the AAA bracket. Before we unveil the teams, Rick, we know LaSalle, very good this year. I can't wait to see where they land.
I don't think it's going to be a surprise where they land. And LaSalle is the number 1 seed, and on merit. They have had a tremendous season. They've won 18 games, 18-6, went unbeaten through the new Atlantic Prep Athletic Conference, which was organized for some of the AAA schools this year, won all 9 of their league games, and just have a really explosive team. They have 3 of the top scorers in the league. Sam Lipkin, their leading scorer, 13 goals, 21 assists for 34 points. Daniel Sambuco, 15 goals, 15 assists for 30. Michael Casey, 9 goals, 17 assists, 26 points. That's the top line in that league. And they're also very solid at the other end of the ice. Aiden McCabe with a .938 save percentage in goal. LaSalle has won 10 Flyers Cups at one time or another. And certainly, I would think the favorite in AAA to win number 11, but some other teams are going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, that they absolutely are. Let's take a look at the first matchup. The number 5 seed in AAA is Father Judge.
Father Judge, a team that some of the APAC schools not quite as familiar with. They played in the Philadelphia Catholic League this year and did very well there. As far as scoring balance, they have quite a bit of that, and taking a look at what they're going to be dealing with this year, they've got, as we mentioned, a very balanced team. Thomas Scannell, 10 goals, 8 assists for 18 points. That's in Catholic League games. Matt Ryan, 8 goals and 7 assists for 15. Mark Allendorf is their goaltender, an .857 save percentage. And this team actually has a history before the AA division became strictly the domain for public schools. Father Judge won the AA championship back in 1993. So they have quite a hockey history, and it should be a very intriguing first-round matchup.
And their first-round matchup will be against a team, speaking with a great hockey history, Holy Ghost Prep.
team that we're quite familiar with. They helped get the APAC League off the ground this year. This year, a very young team, and we're going to see that as we go through the brackets today. They lost much of their scoring from last year, and as a result, the record was impacted. 7-12 overall against a very, very competitive schedule. Just 1-5-1 with 3 overtime losses in the APAC. Alex D'Angelo, 6 goals, 14 assists, 20 points. Byron Hartley, their leading scorer, 16 goals, 8 assists for 24 points. Sean Joyce in goal kept them in a lot of games. He's got a .931 save percentage, and is often the case when a team is struggling to score goals, Mike, you need consistent play at the other end of the ice, and they certainly got that. Holy Ghost Prep with, again, quite a hockey tradition. They have won Flyers Cups before, as has been the case with a lot of the APAC schools. Holy Ghost Prep actually winning the Flyers Cup in 2015 and 2017, also in 2003, and also in 2007. So they've won this event 4 times, and should be a very interesting first-round matchup.
And you mentioned that 2017 team. A couple of members of that team are still on Holy Ghost this year. Hartley, one of the players that you mentioned. Let's go over to the third member of our broadcast team. Lisa Roman is standing by with Holy Ghost Prep. Lisa.
Whiteside, the head coach for Holy Ghost Prep. And Coach, besides winning, what are you looking to get out of this tournament?
Well, this tournament just gives us an opportunity to compete, and it gives us an ability to just be able to compete at a high level and play against teams like Father Judge and LaSalle, St. Joe's Prep. It just gives a great opportunity for ours.
You've been a coach at Holy Ghost for 10 years, and you've brought your team 10 straight times to the Flyers Cup. How much discipline does it take for your players to come back year after year?
Well, we're fortunate at Holy Ghost to have great student athletes, and they work hard both on the ice and off the ice. And it's a pleasure to coach each and every one of them and give us an opportunity to play.
Thanks, Coach.
And thank you very much, Lisa. So that's the 5-4 matchup. If you're just joining us, it'll be Father Judge against Holy Ghost Prep. The 6-3 matchup. The 6th seed is St. Joe's Prep.
The defending Flyers Cup champion, but probably no team in this tournament in any bracket has been hit by as much graduation loss as the Hawks have. They lost much of their offense from last year, and their record reflects that. 6 up, 16 down, 1-7-1 in league play, but they play, again, an extremely demanding schedule, including a couple of trips, one to the Washington, D.C. area to play in a tournament, another one out to the Chicago area, and the competition in the APAC is rugged as well, night after night. Dan Mcgill, again, the primary goaltender, and he has been outstanding this year, a goals against of 3.17. Leading scorers in league play, Vincent Borghese, 5 goals, 4 assists for 9 points. Jared Shaw, 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points in league games. They won the Flyers Cup last year. That's the first time in school history they ever did it, a huge accomplishment for them, and that certainly has added to the hockey legacy at St. Joseph's Prep. So again, a matchup that on paper might not favor them, but they're going to be ready to go. They have played much better than that record would indicate.
And that matchup will be against the 3 seed, Cardinal O'Hara.
Cardinal O'Hara coming in out of the Catholic League, 12-2-1 overall. They've got some scoring punch. John Paul Ahern, 25 goals, 21 assists for 46 points. Zach Deemer, 12 goals, 13 assists for 25. Jacob Politsky, 10 goals, 10 assists for 20. Coming out of the Catholic League, some of the other schools on the bracket might not be as familiar with them, but they were competitive there and should be very competitive in this tournament.
And the number 7 seed, the final team in the Cahillites of Roman Catholic.
Again, coming out of the Catholic League, 8-7 overall with 1 overtime loss. They come in with a couple of leading scorers. Scott McGraw, 21 goals, 13 assists for 34 points. Brendan Whitaker, 14 goals and 10 assists for 24, but they've got a tough challenge in the first round.
Yeah, they certainly do. Congratulations, Roman Catholic. You got into the tournament. Your prize? LaSalle.
Well, actually, they're going to play Melbourne Threat first.
Sorry. They sure are. That's the 2 seed.
You're going to get into serious trouble here in just a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be Malvern Prep, the number 2 seed, their first 2 matchups.
The angry mob is coming in our direction. Malvern Prep plays a schedule not quite as extensive in number of games as some of the other schools. 12 up and 4 down, 5 and 3 with 1 overtime loss in the APAC. Dave Dorman, their coach, they have one of the premier offensive players in the area. Nick Martino in APAC play, 9 goals and 8 assists for 17 points. Probably as much as any player in the APAC, as much as any player in this bracket. Not taking anything away from anybody else. But if you needed a goal in the last 3 minutes of a game, as we saw with the Flyers last night, if you wanted a goal, that's the player you would want with a puck on his stick. He is dangerous from any spot on the rink, and came up with a couple of big goals to give Melbourne Prep a win over St. Joseph's Prep in a huge comeback. They scored 2 shorthanded goals late to come away with a win. A very dangerous player. Kyle Washkalevich, 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points in league play. Dan Doherty is the goaltender, and he's very good. I think one thing we're going to see in the AAA tournament particularly is really good goaltending. Everybody in the field, or just about everybody in the field, really has a first-rate goaltender.
Yeah, they certainly do. So there you get a look at the bracket again. It's LaSalle College High School with the bye. Holy Ghost and Father Judge in the 4-5 matchup. It'll be Cardinal O'Hara and St. Joe's Prep in the 3-6 matchup, and the 2-7 matchup. Just as I said perfectly the first time, it'll be Malvern Prep and Roman Catholic. Obviously, LaSalle a strong favorite. What's another team or two to watch throughout this tournament?
I think Malvern Prep certainly is a threat. They've lost to LaSalle 3 times, but they have the ability to come back on you. They made LaSalle work for those 3 wins. But I really think that LaSalle stands as the favorite. They're the kind of team that can explode on you. An opponent will stay close with them for a period, maybe even 2, and LaSalle is the kind of team that can put a couple of goals, 2 or 3 goals on the board in a very short span of time. If there is such a thing as an overwhelming favorite, and I don't think there really is, but they are the favorite.
Yeah, LaSalle certainly the favorite, but hockey, 1-game sample, hot goaltender, and you never know what could happen.
That's the great thing about the Flyers Cup. It is a 1-game elimination, a 1-game tournament, and 39 years ago, we remember what happened with the United States and the Soviets 39 years ago, 2 nights ago. And the Olympic gold medal game, U.S. and Finland, was actually 39 years ago right now. It was a morning game.
Yeah.
So anything can happen in a 1-game format. And I think particularly with the Atlantic Prep Athletic Conference forming this year, it allowed those teams to play a more consistent schedule against really good competition. I think that's going to pick up the level of play in the Flyers Cup. So I think we're going to see some really good games all through the tournament.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. And Rick, thanks so much for joining us here for the AAA preview. Again, for those of you just joining us, LaSalle is the number 1 seed in AAA. The number 2 seed in AAA is Malvern Prep. The number 3 seed, Cardinal O'Hara. The number 4 seed is Holy Ghost Prep. The number 5 seed is Father Judge. The number 6 seed is St. Joe's Prep. And the number 7 seed is Roman Catholic. We're going to be unveiling the single A bracket in just a second, and that will feature, Lisa, Plymouth Whitemarsh.
I'm here with Plymouth Whitemarsh upperclassmen. We have Jake, Peter, and Desmond. And Peter and Desmond, you've played in this Flyers Cup before, but Jake, it's your first time. What are you most looking forward to in this?
I'm just looking forward to try going out there, giving my best effort, and trying to win.
For you two who have been in the Flyers Cup before, what prepares you most for this tournament?
Really, it's mainly just about having fun. I come out here every year, for PW, hoping to have a good season. I mean, that's what we did this year, to have the rewards of playing the Flyers Cup. So hope it's out there, have some fun, get some pucks deep and, have some fun out there. I don't know.
Desmond, what team are you most looking forward to play?
I don't really know who's in the tournament right now, but I don't really know who's in it. So.
Well, good luck, guys.
And thank you very much, Lisa. Now we're going to be joined here on set by John Povey. He'll be helping me out to take a look at the single A preview. This should be a really competitive bracket, John.
Yeah, the A bracket is always interesting because there's a lot of strong teams at the top end. Obviously, you have five-time defending Flyers Cup and state champion Bayard Rustin. They're right back at it again this year. Obviously trying to make it 6, but there's a bunch of other teams at the top there this year too that I think will be able to give them all they can handle as well.
Looking forward to it. Let's take a look at some of these matchups. What do you say? First matchup will be featuring the number 9 seed in single A, and that is Owen J. Roberts.
OJR, they've actually had a pretty good year this year. They have some high-end kids. They're always competitive every year. This year, I want to say it's one of their better seeding years, and resulted because they're good play this year. So I expect them to have a good first round game and try to move on.
And that first round game will be against the 8 seed Lower Marion.
Yeah, Lower Marion's in the Central League, which is a very competitive league. They actually just had a good win the other night. They can be a sneaky team. They have a couple good high-end players, good goaltending. That game, honestly, I mean, for the reason it's 8-9, can really go any way. But Lower Marion, like I said, they're in the Central this year, and they've had a very good season.
So again, that first matchup in single A, it'll be Lower Marion against Owen J. Roberts. The 10-7 matchup, the 10 seed will be Unionville.
Unionville, they can't go unnoticed. They're actually they're in that Chestmont League, which is very, very competitive. It's one of the more competitive leagues. It can be very sneaky because they're going against the Downingtown East, the Downingtown West, East Henderson. So they're going to be very tough this year. They play a good system. They're very well structured. So just because of their record, it can't go unnoticed of how good they are.
So that'll be the 10-7 matchup. It'll be Unionville, and they'll be taking on Lower Moreland.
Yeah, Lower Moreland, they're in the Suburban League. Sometimes that league doesn't get as much credit as it does with the Chestmont or the Central, but there's a reason why they're ranked fairly high. So, again, that's another, like the 8-9 matchup where the 7-10 should be very intriguing as well, but really that game could go as either way as well, but going to be very competitive, and like I said, Unionville and Lower Moreland are both very good teams.
Yeah, they certainly are. So those are our first two matchups. We mentioned Lower Marion and Owen J. Roberts, and also the 10-7 matchup will be Unionville and Lower Moreland. Next matchup we'll take up a look at is the 11-6 matchup, and the 11 seed is Plymouth Whitemarsh.
Yeah, Plymouth Whitemarsh, as they have a good crowd here, as I can hear. They've had another very good year as well. They've always been pretty much in the mix for the A bracket. This year I think this is one of their better ranked years. But from what I've seen from them, from what I've heard from them, they have a pretty strong team this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 6th seed will be a bit of a tough one to prepare for because they're a little bit far away. That's Hershey.
Yeah, but Hershey's always been competitive in the Flyers Cup. They have a very good track record. They're always up in the top of their league out in the Central PA League. So their credit there, the success that they've had in the Flyers Cup. Just because they're out there doesn't mean that they don't have a strong team.
Sure.
Again, like I said, they've always been competitive. They've always made runs in the Flyers Cup. And really, I think, honestly, they can make another good run at it this year as well.
So that 11-6 matchup, as we just revealed, it'll be Plymouth Whitemarsh against Hershey. And the 12-5 matchup will feature the 12 seed in Springfield.
Yeah, well, Springfield, another interesting opponent this year as well. They started off a little bit slow this year, but in the Central League, another, like I said, competitive league. They've been very good down the stretch there. They were able to get into the playoffs. When you're winning your way into the playoffs, that's when you can be a little dangerous.
Yeah.
pretty good senior class there. So even though they're the 12th seed, I would be very careful with them there. They've always had success in the Flyers Cup. They've been pretty much making it to semifinals and championships in the last 6-7 years. So just because of the 12th seed, I would be a little careful with them there because they do have some talent there.
So you do think this is a team that has some potential to make a run through the tournament?
I do, just because, like I said, they started off a little bit slow, but again, they played their way into the Central League playoffs, and they're playing very well right now. And like I said, I wouldn't sleep on them.
Well, the first round matchup, I guess they've just been put on upset alert, and that's Palmyra.
Well, Palmyra is pretty good too. Like I said, them and Hershey out in the Central PA League are very good. I know the two of them are battling it out this year, so it'll be interesting to see how they do in their playoffs. So, Palmyra is a very good team, and anytime you can outdo Hershey in the standings there, you're doing something right. So. Palmyra is going to be a very good test for Springfield, and the only thing with the Central Penn teams, it can be a little tough. They got to come down to our area, and sometimes that travel can be a little bit tough as well. But they've been in the Flyers Cup for some time now, and I think they're pretty used to that.
So the next matchup we'll take a look at is the 13-4 matchup, and the 13 seed is Wissahickon.
Yeah, Wissahickon, again, they're in the Suburban League. They have some high-end players that, in stat-wise, are very high up there, 60, 70 points. They were very good last year as well. Again, they have some high-end players that you just got to be careful with that, can do some damage if you're not looking.
And then the number 4 seed, the team that they'll be facing in the first round of the Single A Flyers Cup bracket, is Westchester East.
Westchester East is very good this year. A couple weeks ago, they just beat Ruston in just a Chessmont game. They're always up there. They're always competitive. They've been in the finals the last couple of years, and I would expect them to be right back in it there as well, competing for a Flyers Cup again. Very well coached, very well disciplined. Goaltending is great there. And again, they play in that Chessmont League that is such a bear every year. So every night you're getting a tough game. So they're used to competitive games. They're used to competing every single night. So there's a reason why they're consistently making runs.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things, it kind of grinds you down during the season. But when you play in a league as good as the Chessmont, it gets you prepared for playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Ruston, Westchester East, Downingtown East, there's a reason why those teams are consistently up there in the Flyers Cup, because they're used to playing each other every single night, where that's a league where you just can't take a night off, and if you do, you're going to lose. So really prepares them well for the Flyers Cup.
As we work our way down the bracket, the number 14 seed is Kennett.
Kennett, they can be a little bit unknown. Kennett, they've had a pretty good year this year. With their seed, obviously they'll draw a pretty tough opponent in the beginning. But for them, I would think that they're playing just to just pretty much try to give a good effort there. And as I said, they're going to have a tough opponent. When you're the 14 seed playing the 3 seed, but at that point you have nothing to lose, and they can just go for it at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And the number 3 seed will be another one of the aforementioned Chessmont teams in Westchester Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson is very good. I mean, you figure Ruston, Westchester East, and Henderson are all at the top there, and they all compete against each other every single night. Henderson beat East the other night, so they're all beating each other up every other night. So it's going to be competitive, where Henderson is another very good team as well.
I think some teams are getting nervous at the bottom of the bracket as we start to reveal, huh? Well, the number 15 seed will be Hatboro Horsham.
Yeah, and Hatboro Horsham, they're in that Suburban League as well. Same thing again. They're going to play a team at the top half of the bracket, but I saw them earlier this year, and they got a very well team that's put together that can skate pretty well.
Well, we're going to talk to Hatboro Horsham in just a second, but first let's reveal their matchup. The number 2 seed in Single A is Strathaven.
Strathaven's very good this year. They're senior heavy. They have a lot of good seniors. That can be very dangerous, because when you have a team that is graduating a little bit, this is their year to do it. This is their year to kind of make it happen. So obviously the experience is there. They have strong goaltending. They have high-end players, good defense. They play in the Central League, where they were the number 1 seed there. So they're playing in a very competitive Central League schedule every night, so they're getting that as well. And they did beat, I know it was in October, but they did beat Ruston earlier in the year, so that can't go unnoticed.
Well, let's do something that makes every hockey coach nervous, huh? Let's give a hockey team a live microphone. Over to Lisa.
I'm here with Horsham seniors, Shane, JC, and Rowan, and it just was announced you guys are playing Strathaven. How does it compete to play a team outside of your league?
So from this year, we've been playing very competitive teams. Everyone's good in our league, and moving up and playing somebody that's a very more competitive and a harder team, it might be a little bit difficult, but we'll adjust and we'll play very well. So.
And JC, what part of your game are you working on and focusing on in this Flyers Cup?
Well, just keeping guys outside, just bodying guys, making sure they get pucks right in front of the net. Just getting those dirty goals. It's always good to get those dirty goals, and just getting pucks in the net.
And you three are representing Hatboro, Horsham, and Rowan. You're representing a small percentage of females that play in boys ice hockey. How vital and fun is it to be in this tournament?
Being part of, sorry, the echo's crazy. Being part of the team doesn't have anything to do with my gender. I'm just happy to be here with these guys. They're an amazing team, and I'm so lucky to have ended up here.
Congrats, guys, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And one final matchup to take a look at here in the Single A bracket. Let's build up the drama a little bit. We'll talk about the number 1 seed first, and that's Westchester Bayard Ruston.
Ruston's loaded this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, as I said, they have 5 Flyers Cup, 5 state championships in a row, and the team that they had last year is all back this year, which is very, very scary. Ruston kind of does what they always do every year. They go through the Chestmont. They play very well. They do their thing, but when Flyers Cup time comes around, they're on their A game, and for them to, obviously this year it's a very strong team, but what they've been able to do the past 5 years is unheard of, and that experience that those players have, they have a lot of seniors this year that have won 3 straight state championships, so the experience factor's there, and it's tough for the other opponents because they expect to win, and when they get down in crunch time and tough situations, that experience comes out, and I would fully expect them to be there again, and obviously being the number 1 seed, they're the favorite, but they're a very strong, well-coached team this year. Nick Russo does a phenomenal job, and I think a lot of people would be expecting them to win it again this year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we just said with Rick, though, you get a strong goaltender, you get a hot goaltender, 1 game sample, and all of a sudden anything can happen.
And you're out, and that's why I said it's amazing what they've done the last 5 years, because all it takes is one bad, all it takes is one night where you run to a hot goalie and out. But like I said, the teams at the top this year, we're going to try to do something about it with Ruston this year to handle them. But again, they're definitely the favorite.
There's definitely a very strong team. And the number 16 seed, you may now exhale, Sun Valley.
Yeah, Sun Valley. Obviously for them it's going to be tough coming in playing Bayard Ruston, but the same thing, they really have nothing to lose. Nobody expects them to win. No one expects them to hang with Ruston, but you never know. Ruston, I fully wouldn't expect them to overlook anybody, to be where they're at and to have the success they've had. They obviously haven't overlooked anybody, so for Sun Valley just to go out and play hard and obviously they're, as I just said, a lot of people aren't expecting them to win, but sometimes that's when you can be a little bit dangerous. But, they're against the deck here a little bit. But, with that being said, you just never know in Flyers Cup time.
All right, John Povey, as we take a look at the final bracket up here on your screen, what are some of the matchups that you look at? You've kind of got circled throughout there. We could see some upsets, maybe a team that makes a run.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of looking down for the Final Four between those top 4 teams. Again, in the Central PA with Palmyra and Hershey, I think there could be maybe an upset here or there. But I think I do, if I'm predicting, I would think chalk there with the top 4 teams in Ruston, Haven, East, and Henderson. And I think once we get down to that, really anything can happen. East has beaten Ruston this year. Henderson's beaten East. Strathaven's beaten. They've all kind of beat each other up a little bit this year. So again, there could be an upset there, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was. But I think a lot of people are expecting it to be chalk there with the top 4. And when it gets down to that, it's going to be pretty exciting with those 4 teams.
Well, John, thanks so much for joining us here for the Single A preview. Greatly appreciate it. And let's go over to a team with Lisa Roman that's hoping to make a run of their own.
I'm here with Lower Merion.
As we get set to take a look at the AA bracket, and Rick, this is really a good, strong bracket, and it takes quite a bit to make it through this bracket cleanly.
I think particularly, Mike, this year it's a very wide open tournament. You look at the past couple of years where Downingtown East and Central Bucks South were maybe head and shoulders above the rest of the bracket. This year they might be the 2 best teams, but there is less separation. You've really got 4 or 5 teams that I think really have a legitimate shot at winning this tournament. And to make a run, and I've said this several times, I'm starting to sound like a coach, I guess, but there are basically 3 things that you need, I believe. You need production out of more than one line. During the regular season, perhaps you can get by and get the bulk of your scoring from one line, but not so much in the Flyers Cup. The other thing is you need quality goaltending. That doesn't mean make the spectacular save, but don't give up the soft goals. Stop the shots that you should. Third, avoid foolish penalties. Now I sound like a coach for sure, right? But don't take foolish penalties. Stay out of the box. You don't want to be giving up too many power play chances because that will come back and get you. If you can do those 3 things well, you can make a run. You need a break or 2 along the way. You need people to step up. But those 3 elements, I think, are essential for a team that has legitimate designs on winning this tournament.
And for those of you looking for Rick, he's been keeping great coverage throughout the season, and he'll have great coverage throughout the playoffs as well. Rick, where can we read you right now?
That would be on our blog. It's called hockeyhappenings.wordpress.com. That's where it can be found, and we'll have accounts of the upcoming league playoffs and the Suburban League and the APAC, which are coming this week, and then starting Monday a week with the Flyers Cup. And we should point out that the seedings that we're giving you today will hold regardless of league playoff results. The league playoff results will not impact the Flyers Cup seedings.
Right, so let's take a look here and start to reveal this AA bracket. What do you think?
That sounds like, I think that's what the authorities would like us to do. We probably should get to it.
The number 9 team, the first team in AA is Parkland.
Parkland, a team that is always dangerous, coming out of the Lehigh Valley League, and they come into this tournament as of now with a record of 14-2-1. Kobe Stavecki, 32 goals, 22 assists for 54 points. Jason Dratch, 12 goals, 23 assists for 35. Gus Swartz, 14 goals, 15 assists for 29. Vincent Bilic is their goaltender. Excellent goals against average, 2.83. And over the course of their 17 games, they've given up just 40 goals.
Wow.
So it's a team that is very tough to play against with that trapping style they often employ. They tend to frustrate their opponent. They have been to the Flyers Cup final. They actually were a finalist a few years back. ended up playing for a state championship because the team that actually beat them that year, Cherokee, wasn't eligible to play for a Pennsylvania state championship.
Right.
They're going to be a tough out for whoever they play.
Yeah, that they certainly are, and they're standing by right now with our Lisa Roman.
I'm here with Parkland senior and junior Gus and Mike respectively. And Gus, you are a senior. What are you telling your younger players on your team playing in this Flyers Cup?
You know, we've been here the past 3 years. We have a little bit of experience, but some of our key players last year graduated. So we're telling these kids that this is a whole new experience from what we usually play in our league. And they're going to need to step up if we want to compete here.
And Mike, what is the biggest challenge your team faces?
The biggest challenge our team faces, I think, is staying consistent. We've had some tough games against other teams in our league, and we got to make sure we play our best hockey in the Flyers Cup.
Well, good luck, guys. I hope you do play your best hockey in the Flyers Cup.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And their opponent, the number 8 seed, is a team that, Rick, you and I are both very familiar with. That is the Neshaminy Redskins.
That is Neshaminy, a team that has rebounded and has played extremely solid hockey this year. They're an up-and-coming team. The perfect blend, Mike, of youth and experience,
right,
which gives you that savvy but also that youthful enthusiasm, which is helpful. They have, first of all, one of the premier goaltenders in the state of Pennsylvania, I believe, Steve Glick, with a save percentage of .902. His goals against not quite as impressive this year, 3.54, still very good. He sees an awful lot of shots, and has through his entire varsity career. He has been superb. Rob Seawagon joined the team this year, a transfer from Holy Ghost, 20 goals, 14 assists, 34 points. Joe DiMatteo, 13 goals, 15 assists for 28. This is probably the most intriguing first-round matchup on the bracket. It should be a very entertaining contest, and that game, I believe, is Wednesday the 6th down at Grundy. So Neshaminy will have the home ice advantage in a very real sense, but this probably the premier first-round game in terms of best matchup.
Yeah, really excited for that matchup, and so are the Neshaminy Redskins that are standing by with Lisa.
I'm with Neshaminy hockey players, Brett, Joey, and Brian. And this is your first year competing in the Flyers Cup. How special is this for Neshaminy?
For all of us, it's pretty special. It's first year. We're looking to win, and that's simple.
And besides winning, what's the biggest thing you're looking to get out of this tournament?
For Neshaminy, definitely growth, because not a lot of people really know about us, and we're trying to make a statement that we're one of good teams this year and stuff, and trying to really improve on our development.
And who are you most looking forward to when playing?
In playing, whoever we have, we gotta beat whoever they put in front of us, and that's all we can do.
And as a freshman in this tournament, what personal growth are you looking to find playing in the Flyers Cup?
Well, I'm trying to stay behind my starting goalie, Glick, and just try to basically pick up on everything he's doing. So when I get the starting spot, it's the same.
Congrats, guys, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And we take a look at this Neshaminy team, and they are very dangerous because, as you said, the outstanding goaltender play in Steve Glick. That's what you need in a tournament like this.
That's what you need, and that is what he has given his team, even in years when their record has not been as impressive, when they haven't made the Suburban League playoffs or qualified for this tournament. He has been a steadying force in goal every night out.
That should be a great matchup. The next matchup we're going to take a look at here is the 10-7 matchup, and the number 10 seed is Central Bucks West.
That's a team that has surprised a lot of people this year. West lost a lot from last year's team, as a lot of teams seem to have done. They finished with a 9-7 record, but their young players have matured very nicely, and their veterans have really stepped up. Chris Trez, 11 goals, 28 assists for 39 points, is their leading scorer. Jake Lang, 17 goals and 12 assists for 29. Jeremy Kennard in goal with an .891 save percentage. And this is a team that can be very dangerous. They struggled a bit at the start of the year with a very young team, but they have played very well over the last month and a half or so, say after the Christmas holiday break. They've played some very good hockey, and they can make a run here.
Yeah, that they certainly can, and right now they're standing by with Lisa.
I'm here with Central Bucks Wes, Chris, Jeremy, and Grant. Guys, you're playing in the Flyers Cup. What aspect of your game are you focusing on?
Strong team defense mostly, and I think if we give our forwards a chance to score, they'll be able to do it. We're very fast and we move the puck well, so I'm looking forward to, working hard and representing our school well.
And Grant, you're playing in the Wells Fargo Center. How important is it to perform well on this big stage?
It's all a big arena. The seats are huge. It makes the rink feel big. It's going to be fun.
And Jeremy, how has your season been up until this point?
We started off rough. We started to come together as a team, and we're just playing better overall lately.
And you'll keep that better overall going into the Flyers tournament, and good luck, guys.
Thank you very much, Lisa. So the first two matchups we revealed here in AA. The 8-9 matchup is Neshaminy and Parkland, and the 10-7 matchup is CB West and Boyertown.
Boyertown out of Liberty North under the Intercounty League umbrella. This is the team that has a lot of scoring balance, one of the elements that you need in a tournament like this. Jackson Novak, 19 goals, 18 assists for 37 points. Owen Shepard, 19 goals, 11 assists for 30. Adam Hennessy, also with 30 points, 16 goals, 14 assists. Brian Kohler, 12 goals, 16 assists for 28. All that in 18 games. So you've got 4 scorers with 28 points or more in an 18-game schedule. That's a lot of balance, and that bodes well for Boyertown going into this tournament.
Yeah, it certainly does. So that 10-7 matchup, again, CB West against Boyertown. Next matchup we'll take a look at is the 11-6. The 11 seed in AA is Central Bucks East.
Central Bucks East is a team that, again, one of the youngest teams in the field. They're going to come in having a young team that, again, started slowly but came together and matured as the season went along. And that's sometimes a situation that takes a little longer. But we'll come back to them in just a second. But certainly they're a team that worked hard to get into the Suburban League playoffs. And I think there's an advantage there, Mike, when you aren't necessarily assured of a playoff spot in your own league, and you've got to stay focused night after night. Right. You're really playing postseason games, and East has been for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So that bodes well for them going into this.
Well, not only that, you mentioned it's an incredibly young team, and being a young team, they may be too young to realize, hey, we're supposed to be nervous going into this.
I think that is a factor, and we joke about that. We've talked about that. But if you step up in a tournament like this, for a lot of these players, it's just another hockey game.
Yeah.
So that's a factor as well. And I think they're in a situation where they'll be the underdog certainly, but they're a team that's going to be dangerous.
Yep, they certainly are. That's the 6th seed. That is CB East, and they'll be facing the number 6 seed, Haverford High.
Haverford High is, again, coming out of the Intercounty League, out of a Central League, playing very competitive hockey over the course of the season. They're going to be a challenge for a lot of people. And playing against the competition that they do in the Central League, which is pretty solid, that will bode well for them as they head into the Flyers Cup tournament. So that's a matchup that should be good. Haverford High, one of those teams that is going to cause some issues for people, and that should be quite interesting.
That it absolutely should. So that's our 6-11 matchup. CB East taking on Haverford High. The next one we will take a look at will feature the number 12 seed, Pennsbury Falcons.
Well, Lisa's got a couple of Falcons here. Pennsbury again, one of the youngest teams in the Suburban League this year, and picked it up over the second half of the year. So we'll Lisa speak to that with one of our guests for a moment.
Absolutely, Lisa.
I'm here with Pennsbury coach Ryan and two players, Griffin and Eric. And Ryan, how much discipline has your team had to get back to the Flyers Cup?
It's been a lot. It's been a long road, really young team, so it's taken a while for everyone to get on the same page, but the second half of the season we had a really good push. Everyone's really disciplined, playing great hockey right now, so a lot of hard work went into it.
And Griffin, you're a senior now, but you played when you were a freshman. What changes this year and this season to get you back to this point?
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
She went full on Marshawn Lynch.
Well, so what are you looking to get out of this? Returning for your senior year, going out with the splash?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it's important because I'm a senior, so I mean, it'd be nice to go out with a bang my senior year. So.
And Eric, playing on such a big stage in Wells Fargo Center, what does it mean to you?
It's going to be fun because the Flyers play there, and we're playing a team we already beat before, so hopefully we beat them again and we win.
Well, good luck, guys.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I must say, channeling Marshawn Lynch is not something I expected to have on the show today. Next matchup, we will take a look at, we mentioned Pennsbury, the number 12 seed. They'll be facing the number 5 seed in North Penn.
North Penn is a team that I think has a legitimate shot at winning this tournament. They're a team that scores an awful lot of goals. They are averaging better than 5 goals a game. They come in with a record of 10-3-3. Tyler Greenstein, 20 goals, 20 assists for 40 points. Nathan O, 13 goals, 23 assists for 36. Jared Albano, 10 goals, 22 assists for 32. Jake Nelson, 19 and 11 for 30. So again, you've got 4 30-point scorers. They're a team that causes a lot of problems at the offensive end of the ice. The question for them, what kind of play do they get inside their own blue line and in goal? And as far as Pennsbury goes, their overall mark 7-7-3. Eric Eisler, 13 goals, 11 assists for 24 points. Jake Seeger, 14 and 9 for 23. Ironically, these two teams are going to play each other tomorrow night in the first round of the Suburban League playoffs.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of a preview of what each other has. They played once during the regular season as well. So by next week, those teams will be very familiar with each other.
Yeah, that they certainly are, and there's a great rivalry between North Penn and Pennsbury, not just in high school hockey, but in all sports, and the Knights are standing by right now with Lisa.
I'm here with North Penn seniors, Jake, Nathan, and Eric. And Jake, how has your season been up until this point?
It's been good. We've been pretty consistent and came to play every time we hit the ice.
And Nathan, what are you most personally looking to get out of this tournament?
Just have fun one last time with all the great teammates that I've had this year.
And how proud of you are your team for making it to the Flyers Cup?
I'm super proud of our team. We've been working really hard this whole year, and even everyone, including the juniors and freshmen, have been working really hard and doing really well.
Well, congrats, guys, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Lisa. That's North Penn. They'll be facing Pennsbury in the first round of the AA Flyers Cup bracket. Next matchup we'll take a look at is the 13-4 matchup. And the 13 seed is Garnet Valley.
Garnet Valley coming out of this actually an all inter-county, or not an all inter-county matchup, but we'll get to that in a second. Garnet Valley coming in with a record of 8 up, 10 down. Matthew Wood, their leading scorer, 15 goals, 19 assists for 34 points. Nick Post, 5 goals and 7 assists for 12. And they're going to be stepping up and trying to make a run here, but it'll be one of those situations where they're going to be relying on their number 1 line quite a bit.
Right, and they absolutely are. And they're standing by right now are the Jaguars with our Lisa Roman.
I'm here with Garnet Valley's Dan, Nick, and Josh. You're playing in the Flyers Cup, guys. What part of your season has been most pivotal in getting you to this point?
Probably the end of our season. We really picked it up towards the end. We had a rough start in the beginning, but excited to be here and get it going.
And what part of the end and then second part of your season are you looking to carry over into the Flyers Cup?
Just playing as a team and just like having good chemistry and all that, and just having fun.
And you're going to have fun in the Wells Fargo Center. How cool is it to play inside the Wells Fargo Center?
It's an honor, honestly. I've only played there once a long time ago for club, so it's going to be awesome experience. Hopefully we do well. Just keep working hard.
Well, good luck, guys.
And they will be facing the number 4 seed in Penridge.
Penridge, a team, again, one of the teams that really has a serious shot at winning this tournament. They've got an awful lot of scoring. Perhaps the premier player in the Suburban League this year, in Eric Slater, 29 goals, 16 assists for 45 points. Michael Walker is his line mate, 13 goals, 15 assists for 28. Frankie Rhoda, a very solid offensive-minded defenseman, 7 goals, 13 assists, 20 points. He also blocks a lot of shots. But the key for me why Penridge can make a serious run here is Luke Strenick in goal. Goals against of 2.06 and a save percentage of 912. That's a very comforting feeling if you're Jeff Montagna, the coach. Would be comforting to any coach. Penridge is a team that I think really has a serious shot at winning this, although they're going to have a tough assignment in the quarterfinals. If the bracket holds up, they would play North Penn in the quarters. And that is going to be, if that turns out to be the case, would be a very tough quarterfinal game for both teams.
So you mentioned you're starting to get some coach in you, but not quite a lot, because I'm sure the coach will say, let's take it one game at a time, not quite worry about North Penn just yet.
I did not want to go there, but it's a matter of reporting the facts. But you're correct.
Penridge is standing by right now with Lisa.
I'm here with 2 freshmen from Penridge's team, Aiden and Eric. And as a freshman, you guys made it for the first year in the Flyers Cup. How important is it?
It's going to be pretty fun, just try and go out there and play hard, do what I can do.
And Eric, what part of your game have you been focusing on to get you to this point?
Just going out, skating hard. We have a bunch of seniors, so it's great to just play with all those upperclassmen. They're great role models. So
that's awesome. Good luck, guys.
And thank you very much, Lisa, as we welcome you back on set here with Rick Wolfel. I'm Mike Samsel. Great to have you along with us as we go through the AA Flyers Cup bracket reveal. And the finals, they get to be played at Wells Fargo Center. That's incredibly exciting. But there's really a ton of great venues all around this area.
So many, and what we want to... There we go. What we want to think about looking at that first-round matchup between Haverford and Central Bucks East. They're going to play that game at the stadium in Havertown. Gosh, if my dad were with us, he would not like that word. He would prefer Haverford Township instead, so we will do him honors. But the Flyers Cup was played there in its entirety for several years. The stadium is the oldest rink in the area, or one of the oldest, and there's so much hockey tradition that goes there. It's going to be great that Haverford, which plays the majority of its games there, is going to face Central Bucks East, and we'll review that matchup again real quick. Haverford 11-6-1. Their leading scorer, Jacob Arazi, 5 goals, 18 assists for 23. Jager McClelland, 11 goals and 10 assists for 21. They've also got a really good goaltender, Tyler Cassidy, 2.08 goals against, save percentage of .914. Central Bucks East, we mentioned their record 9-5-2. They've got one of the great up-and-coming players in the area, Sean Gorman, just a sophomore, 21 goals, 5 assists for 26. And they've got 2 quality goaltenders. Most teams would feel fortunate to have one.
Right.
They have 2. Chris McIntyre, 2.51 goals against, .914 save percentage. Matt Oganowski with 3.25 goals against, save percentage .855. Both of them played very well this year, and they really are interchangeable. Most teams don't have that luxury. If Central Bucks East can get by their opening round, that's going to be a factor as well. But they have gotten consistent play in goal all year long.
They certainly have. Next matchup we're going to take a look at here is the 14-3 matchup. The 14 seed in AA is Perkiomen Valley.
Perkiomen Valley coming out of the Inter-County League once more, and they are a team that has been going through Liberty North this year. 9-7-1 is their record. Hunter Ringwald is their leading goal scorer, 14 goals, 23 assists for 37 points. Matt Maiden is next, 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points.
So they'll be the 14 seed, and they'll be facing the number 3 seed, Downingtown East. That one kind of draws some oohs and ahs from the crowd.
Downingtown East, the defending champion, and their record is well established. They're a team that is fast, that is quicker. Just double check that. Okay, it is Downingtown East. You're right. We were looking at the wrong side of the bracket, but they're a team that has won the last 2 Flyers Cups, and they're quick, they're fast, and the speed that they have is what has given opponents so many problems over the course of a tournament.
Yeah, it certainly is. So that 3-14 matchup, again, it'll be Downingtown East and Perkiomen Valley. The number 2 seed will be revealed in just a second. They'll be facing the number 15 seed, Downingtown West.
Downingtown West, the team that kind of gets overlooked, playing in the shadow of Downingtown East in recent years. Alex Conley, 8 goals and 5 assists, 13 points. Zakin Sparrow, 7 goals, 4 assists for 11. This team doesn't score an awful lot of goals, but they've been very solid at the other end of the ice. Eric West in goal with a 3.38 goals against average, which is really solid, and that will pay dividends for them, I think, in this tournament.
Yeah, that it certainly will. The number 15 seed, Downingtown West, will be facing the number 2 seed, CB South.
CB South, a finalist last year, and obviously they're in the building today, losing in overtime in the finals to Downingtown East. They come in with a record of 11-3-2, and what this team has brought to the table in recent years is scoring balance. This year, Reese Brasio, 21 goals, 15 assists for 36 points. Cohen Abenizio, 13 goals, 12 assists for 25 points. Dominic Liberta, 5 goals and 11 assists for 16. He is the prototype offensive-minded defenseman, and he's also very good handling responsibilities inside the blue line. Oscar Levin with a 2.52 goals against, save percentage of .879.
Yeah, so they're an outstanding team, and they're standing by right now with Lisa.
I'm here with Central Bucks scout Oscar, Alex, and Colin, just selected as the number 2 seed in the Flyers Cup. How much pressure does this add?
I mean, the seeding doesn't really mean anything for us. We just expect a good competition, like against we're playing Downingtown West. So for us, it really doesn't matter what seed we are. We just got to focus on our game, and that's it. That's all I got to ask.
And this season, what has your team been focusing on to get you to this point?
Mainly just working as a team and getting everything done that we need to get done.
Last year, South was in the Flyers Cup. You guys lost in the Flyers. How important is it to change that outcome this year?
I say we just do what we did last year, and we'll get there again and just capitalize in the finals.
Well, good luck, guys.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and we appreciate talking to CB South as well. Now time to reveal the 16-1 matchup, and the number 16 seed will be Council Rock South.
Council Rock South, a team that just barely probably got into this tournament by tying for the last playoff spot and winning the last playoff spot in the Suburban League by recording a tie against Penn Ridge in their final regular season game. Joe Houck, one of the best coaches in the area, he has been for a long time, and he's won a couple of Flyers Cups. Logan Hurwitz, 11 goals, 16 assists for 27 points. Bill Harrelson, 10 goals, 7 assists for 17. And you can look at this matchup and say they're going to be heavy underdogs. On paper, yeah, but this is a team that always seems to improve over the second half of the year. They are very young, a lot of these players without significant Flyers Cup experience, or perhaps none at all, but they'll be ready next week.
That they certainly will. And the number 1 seed here in AA will be announced kind of dramatically. There is a bit of a mistake here. Downingtown East is indeed number 1.
They are.
They are. So, take care of that drama. It'll be Downingtown East taking on Council Rock South. The number 3 seed, the 3-14 matchup, will be Perkiomen Valley taking on the 3 seed, dramatic drum roll, Conestoga.
Okay, you got the sound effects over there? At least you got sound
More
effects
like the
over
Benny
there.
Hill music, I think.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, Conestoga, the number 3 seed, is going to play Perkiomen Valley. And Conestoga, one of those teams that gets a lot of firepower off one line. And you're going to look at some of these numbers. This is in a 16-game schedule. Frank Konopastic, 29 goals, 36 assists, 68 points. Jaden Sisson, 29 goals, 33 for 62. Will Schnorr, 25 goals, 27 assists for 52. By far the most dangerous line in this tournament.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And as we're joined by Conestoga, I'm really thankful Rick is between me and the coach at Conestoga right now as we send it over to Lisa.
Thanks very much. I'll remember that.
Conestoga head coach Mike Graves, how important is it for your team to be competing in this Flyers Cup?
We're fortunate to be here each year, so it's something that we have on our schedule, and no matter what seed we are, we got to come out and play every game.
How much recognition has this Flyers Cup brought to high school ice hockey?
Oh, it's amazing. It's the premier high school hockey event. It's what separates high school hockey from club hockey. We're honored to be in it every year.
And you guys were just announced as the 3rd seed. How proud of you of your team or you?
The top 8 teams, top 16 teams, anybody can beat it each year. So the seeding is just a number. You got to come to play when the games are there and the playoffs start. So we'll be ready to go.
Good luck, Coach.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. And that is the number 3 seed Conestoga. They'll be facing the number 14 team, Perkiomen Valley, as we take a look at the final bracket. And that 1-16 matchup up in the upper left-hand corner is Downingtown East against Council Rock South.
Downingtown East, a 2-time defending Flyers Cup and state champion, and on merit. They're a team that is fun to watch play. We covered the final last year between Central Bucks South and Downingtown East. Downingtown East won that game in overtime and may have been the best high school hockey game I've ever seen. When you've been around sports a long time, Mike, when you've got 2 opponents that bring the best out in each other, you get something that's truly special, and that's what that AA final was. And Downingtown East comes in, Dan Stankiewicz, 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. Ryan Pastrenko, 9 goals, 9 assists for 18. Mark Stankiewicz, 8 goals, 5 assists for 13. Andrew Seglia, 8 goals, 4 assists for 12. Matt Chandler will be the primary goaltender. 2.34 goals events and save percentage of .916. They come in with a record of actually 14-4, 13-4 with 1 overtime win in the Chessmont League. And again, very solid defensively. In 18 games, they've allowed just 42 goals.
So again, here's your AA bracket. You've got Downingtown East taking on Council Rock South. That's the 1-16 matchup. The 2-15 matchup is CB South and Downingtown West. The 3-14 is Conestoga taking on Perkiomen Valley. The 4-13 will be Penridge and Garnet Valley. The 5-12, a good one, is North Penn and Pennsbury. The 6-11 matchup features Haverford High taking on CB East. The next matchup we'll take a look at is the 7-10. It's Boyertown and CB West. And the 8-9 is Neshaminy and Parkland. There's some great games throughout this.
There's going to be some great matchups all through this tournament. I told you I like that matchup between Neshaminy and Parkland in the opening round. We've got some intriguing quarterfinal matchups as well. I really think they're are 5 teams at minimum that have a legitimate chance to win this tournament.
And recapping the single A bracket, the number 1 seed is Bayard Rustin. They'll be taking on the 16 Sun Valley. Strathaven and Hatboro Horsham is the 2-15 matchup. It's Westchester Henderson taking on Kennett in the 3-14. The 4-13 matchup is Westchester East and Wissahickon. 5-12 is Palmyra and Springfield. The 6-11 matchup is Hershey and Plymouth Whitemarsh. The 7-10 is Lower Moreland and Unionville, and the 8-9 is Lower Marion and Owen J. Roberts. Some great matchups to watch throughout that bracket as well.
That should be a wonderful bracket to watch. And still have to look at Ruston, though, trying to make it 6 in a row, and that's going to be special.
It certainly is. That's a great hockey team. Now let's take a look and recap the AAA bracket. It'll be a bye for the number 1 seed, LaSalle. The first matchup we'll look at is the 2-7 Malvern Prep and Roman Catholic. It'll be the 3-6 Cardinal O'Hara and St. Joe's Prep. And the 4-5 matchup will feature Holy Ghost Prep and Father Judge.
As we said at the top, all roads lead through LaSalle. They are probably the favorite as much as any team in any bracket in this tournament.
And this should be a great tournament. And the final one we'll take a look at, just to recap the girls' bracket, the number 1 seed is Unionville. They'll have a bye, and the 2-3 matchup is Westchester East taking on Westchester Ruston. Rick, I can't wait to get the puck dropped on this tournament.
It's going to be fun, and the final games, all the finals, the 4 divisions we've given you today are going to be played at Wells Fargo Center on March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. The girls' final is set for 9:45 in the morning. The 3 boys' games go, I believe it is 2, 4:30, and 7. Yeah. I believe those are the game times. Single A goes first. And it's going to be special to have the finals back at Wells Fargo. They've been played there. I don't recall if every final has ever been played there in the same year, but there have been finals played there in the past. And this symbolizes what the Flyers have meant to the growth of high school hockey in the area. They started this tournament 40 years ago or 39 years ago to give a boost to high school hockey and also promote the game and develop future fans, and so they have. But it really launched high school hockey in this area, gave it a jolt of energy, and even though Mr. Snyder's no longer with us, I'm sure he would be very proud of what this tournament has become and what his staff has helped this tournament become.
Absolutely. And before we get out of here, everyone here in the Brickhouse Tavern, let's give a nice hand to Justine and the entire staff here at Brickhouse. They've done a great job putting on this event and hosting us, so we really appreciate not only Justine, but everyone here at the Brickhouse Tavern. And with that, we're just about ready to start the Flyers Cup tournament. I can't wait to drop the puck. This should be great.
First round games begin on March the 4th, a week from tomorrow, so we're ready.
Week from tomorrow, we'll be there for Rick Wolfel and our entire great SFBN crew. Can't thank them enough for working with us, as well as Dave Baum and everyone with the Flyers Cup for having us out here as well. My name is Mike Samsel. My great thanks for joining us. Everyone, have fun and enjoy the Flyers Cup playoffs.